booties for black girl nerds.
I'm good.
Thank you so
I
much for your time. You look beautiful as always. Happy
got it.
days.
Oh, thank you. We both got our like knitwear frills going on.
I know, and my hair was just like that right before because I have really curly hair too. But it's not, curl patterns are a funny thing and they
They are.
change from day to day.
I know. Tell me about it. We
Well,
celebrate it.
exactly. I thank you so much for this time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Surface is returning back for season 2. Congratulations. Reflecting back on the first season and watching how it took off with fandom and people were intrigued by the tension and the all of the things that were happening to Sophie over season 1. How did it feel to see that reaction to the show?
Oh, it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking at the same time. I think for me it was really fun the way that the show was released, with the first few episodes, the first 3 episodes, and then every week another one. I think that also lends a conversation, for audience members, especially with a psychological thriller where you're leaving the audience with a cliffhanger every week. And I think it was fun, especially on social media, to see people's theories and how they were, having all of their ideas about the character turned on their heads, and following along with the show like that. I think it makes it a fun, engaging experience.
Absolutely. And now for season 2, the show not only changes locale in the season, but also in production as it heads back to England, where you're also serving as an executive producer for the series.
Mm.
What has serving in that capacity taught you about performance, particularly on Surface, in a way that acting hasn't so far?
Yeah, I think it's been an amazing journey. I think I've learned a lot about leadership in terms of not just being the lead actor on the set, but being the number one on the call sheet, and what it means to be a leading lady as executive producer as well. I think in terms of setting the tone, in terms of bringing the energy, I think consciously or not, when you're the lead of a show, you set the culture of the set, and that's been interesting, to take on that responsibility. And like you said, I'm super excited to be able to, in a producer capacity, bring the show back home to the UK. Just creatively, having worked so much in the States and in Canada, where the show, the first season was shot. It's exciting for the identity of the show to shift to a new city. San Francisco, such an iconic city and almost a character in itself in season 1. I'm excited to see how London, evolves cinematically in the show, knowing the tone of the show and the scope of the cinematography. I'm excited to see, how that relates to London as well.
Absolutely. As we got to know Sophie during the course of the first season, it's always interesting when your main person has memory loss. It has so much room to play, so much room for interpretation. How will this season differ for her growth and evolution as she's had time to settle in this new normal for her? How will this season be different from the first?
Well, I don't want to give too much away because there's still, a fair amount of time until people will watch season 2. But certainly, what I can say is, as well as it being in London, I think we're going to go deeper into Sophie's past. I think season 1 definitely dealt with, Sophie grappling with her identity, piecing, the duality of Sophie and Tess and the sides of her memory together. And I think season 2 will delve into her family, and really what made her this way, the why did Sophie travel across an ocean, settle in California, and get involved in all of this morally ambiguous financial situations with James. What made her this way? And I think that that's the deeper kind of character arc that we'll see in season 2. And also I think the danger is going to accelerate in this second season. I think there's going to be a more of a thriller pace to the show, and a higher stakes in terms of Sophie being more empowered, in a dangerous world. She's kind of on the run now, and so I think that changes the tone of the show slightly, because, as I say, it's a much more a dangerous world that she's entering.
Mhm. As a performer, kind of embodying that thriller aspect of the show, how does that change your approach to Sophie? How does it make you feel to now shift into a where she's not tentative, but now she really gets to sort of show her abilities and emboldenment and some fearlessness and those changes? How does that your process differ?
Well, we'll see. I mean, time will tell. I'm only reading the early scripts at the moment, and I think I'm looking forward to exploring that, with Veronica, the showrunner, and on set, with the other actors. But I think, it's always fun for me to bring out as many nuances as I can. You never just want to play a fragile character, but equally you never just want to play a strong character. Like, what is
Mm.
strong? We're all complex, and I think for me it's always about that fascinating combination of vulnerability and strength. I think that's the stuff that I think, even though Sophie is it has more autonomy in the second season and will be bolder, in her choices, she's still a human being, and she's still, has feelings, and has, insecurities, and so I'm always trying to find that balance and that tension, to give the character as much humanity as possible.
Absolutely. Within that humanity, and as we got to learn more about Sophie throughout the first season, the fan theories were being tossed around of, who done it, who's really the bad, who's good, who plays in the gray. Were there any particular fan theories that you saw out there that you thought were interesting, that were totally off course but still were interesting nonetheless?
Oh my God. I mean, I loved seeing it all play out. I didn't read every single fan theory. You'd probably have to tell me some of them. But I love the fact that people feel that invested, and I think a lot of the early conversations were, people don't trust the husband, people don't trust James, and knowing Oliver Jackson Cohen and knowing what a brilliant actor he is, but then actually seeing how towards the end of the season people were like, oh my God, James, like and credit to his talent as an actor, that by the time you get to episode 6 and you're really seeing the sort of origin story of their relationship, and especially from James's point of view, I think that was a really interesting one, to see people's empathy shift from writing him off as this dodgy bad husband, to actually finding a complexity and a caring in James that I think surprised a lot of people.
I too was one of those people. When I first met James, I gave him the side eye, like, just
Yeah,
arrest him now. Just
yeah.
arrest him now. We know he's responsible. And as the episodes went on, I felt so sorry for him. And he was carrying a heavy burden and trying to be supportive. And I like, as you said, it's a testament to William Jackson Cohen's acting ability. When you had a chance to watch the episodes back, did you have a favorite episode of the season, or a moment during that season where you looked at either your own performance or Williams, or something you did together where you thought, wow, this is some really fine work we are doing?
Yes, Oliver Jackson Cohen. Sorry, I just have to say it's Oliver,
Sorry,
not
Oliver
William.
Jackson Cohen, excuse me.
No,
So
that's okay. But no, I would say probably my favorite episodes. I love episode 5 where it gets very surreal, where Sophie kind of like takes the hallucinogenics and kind of starts to walk into the painting, the Ophelia painting, and the horse in the street. I love anything that is a little bit surreal and dreamlike and nightmarish. Because I don't know what that says about me, but I really appreciated that episode. I just liked how it was woven together with the art and going deeper into her subconscious. And I also really loved episode 6 because I think there is an element of romance in that episode to see the beginning of this love story, where we've seen this couple kind of at each other's throats and not trusting each other, and to go back to the beginning, to a more innocent time, was really fun to play. So I'd probably say those are, and of course the finale, because that sort of propels us off into season 2 as well, and Sophie is so much more emboldened in that episode. So quite a few things.
I too enjoy you in those surreal moments, because as I talk to you and the vibrance of who you are, and to see that sort of different side that you're able to embody, just the juxtaposition of that is just so beautiful to see you kind of wade into those deeper places. Are those more rewarding to you as a performer?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting going to those darker places, like you say. I mean, I naturally have a free-spirited personality, I think, and but that doesn't mean that I love psychology. I love, the deep places that we go to as humans, and so for me that's always the meaty stuff to play, and probably the most rewarding stuff to play, when the stakes are high and the emotions are intense. That for me is the fun stuff.
Mhm. So reflecting on season 1, heading into season 2, if you could categorize season 1 in through like 3 words, how would you categorize season
Oh
1?
my gosh. I would probably say it's compelling, mysterious, and empowering, maybe. Those would probably be my 3 words for season 1, if I had to choose 3.
And season 2, the early word is it's going to be more emboldened Sophie, a more fearless Sophie. And what is something that you haven't read yet that you're curious to see what's going to happen that carried over from season 1?
I think it's going deeper into the truth, deeper into the truth of Sophie's backstory, her true background, her family. That's something that I'm really excited to explore, and what she was running from in the first place.
That's always a good thing. I'm very excited. I cannot wait. I watched season 1 long ago. I think I interviewed you in the cast for during the season 1 junket. So I'm glad you all are back, and very excited to see season 2.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a marvelous season. Uh, I can't wait to see the Twitter reactions, the theories, because that makes it the most fun. And episodic TV, I love that it's done that way, because it gives us something to talk to instead of just binging it all at once. And then you have to block all the keywords on Twitter so someone doesn't spoil it.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. It's lovely talking to you.
You too as well. Have a great season. Thank you again.
Yes, bye.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.